so it went higher. Dang.
The kicker is that the mod on the weapon actually affects that little, like, number, the 6.25 or whatever it is percent crit shown directly on the weapon, instead of increasing it, like, afterwards. So that's probably the most important increased crit strike chance modifier in any of your gear.
Not only that, but in a lot of modifiers, if it says the word more, that's way better than increased.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. More probably being like additive instead of like percentage,
It's
like whatever the
more
base.
multiplicative as increase is additive.
Add them more multipliers.
What's the highest item level?
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. I've only ever seen 85.
Well, that's because item level are usually only available by like cards and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And prophecies.
So what's the highest item level you can get in something actually from physically, like, playing a particular?
Stuff with Shaper is like item level like 85, 86.
Okay.
Can you get
maybe 88?
tiny bit higher if you roll plus levels on a charm box?
Yeah.
You might be able to get like 89, maybe.
Honestly, at that point, like, item level 84 is about the highest that you really need on anything.
Yep.
Like for opal and steel rings, for instance.
Gotta say, I'm leveling up pretty fast with these new class.
That's good.
I just have like, I am like Soul Glass Cannon right now. I got 86 armor and like 700 health.
Yeah, that's not very much.
I don't know what to do. Like every item I bought from other players is unique. Like,
well, uniques aren't the best of items in this, like, in general. Like, there are a lot of good uniques, but just because something's a unique doesn't mean it's better than a rare or even magic item sometimes.
Oh, a rare is almost always better than a magic item if you...
Oh, definitely. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying better than a unique.
Yeah, sure. Like, there's some really bad uniques out there.
Yeah.
Gotta score it. Dancing Dervish. I mean, it kind of works on the summoner builds as like an offset weapon.
It was like, okay. You could weapon swap Dancing Dervish, and then you could go clear like one mob and then swap, but it's just not worth it now that Visco's Leash, I think, exists. It's like hot swap the belt.
The uniques here work like the same way in Diablo 2, like where it's just like a set.
Oh, has anyone seen the building the Bob build?
No. Wait. Is that the anime Guardian build?
Yeah, it's the anime
Guardian build. Yeah, I've seen that one.
It's called Building the Bob. Like,
is it good?
He threw like a Count's Heart on it, a Star Forge. It's basically like bringing around a second person to clear all the mobs with you. But not very good. Just look up Path of Exile Building the Bob. You'll find it. I think it's a video on YouTube, actually.
If you ever want to look up some fun PoE builds, just like Google Worm Blaster. There's like 4 of them. They're all incredible.
It depends what you define as fun, because for me, fun is like being able to do all the content in the game.
Worm Blaster just like cheesed all the content, which is the best part.
Is this still a real
build? You know what a good build is, actually?
Oh, it's dead.
I want to do it, though. I want to do it. Ooh, you know what we should do? We we should all like start up software characters together, but like only play like meme-ish builds.
Only play what-ish builds?
Meme builds.
Meme builds?
Meme.
Yeah,
Like
meme?
joke builds.
Oh, okay.
Does a trapper count as a meme build?
Hey,
Does
does
yeah,
playing
sure.
hardcore give you like increased experience or something?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I that was a kind of a funny interaction. I knew you were saying meme, but I didn't know what you meant by it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. In any case, though, the one I want to do is I want to do like the 10 ballista build
Oh, that was amazing.
with Iron Commander.
Hey, can one of you like go through my portal real quick? I'm like stuck on
Need a
this
map?
area.
Who would be down to join me for making some meme
Good
builds?
luck with your maps.
I could
Like, just
potentially.
super dumb ones?
Like pretty dumb ones. I mean, it can be like hipster meme, like the ballista totems, because that can actually kind of work.
How do we know if it's a meme build? Do we literally just search up meme build Path of Exile and then it'll pop up?
Just find something that
Reminds me of a meme?
It should be to your own discretion. Like it should not be very, very successful.
Yeah, so take like the top 10 best skills in the game and then don't use them. You're gonna have to theory craft if you do that.
Yeah. You could do like a skeleton miner, summon skeleton mines.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is, but just like Vol summon skeletons and just throw down a shit ton of mines.
Actually, I've always wanted to do a Val Ice Nova build.
Do a Vol Ice Nova build. Although that's gonna be kind of rough, especially like in a team setting.
Yeah, but and not only that, but I hear it's actually pretty good.
It's like going like the old like Vol Spark Vol Fireball, but worse. Obviously.
Yo, someone come through my portal quick. I am like stuck as hell in here.
No, I can help you after this map, but
Like you don't get it. This happened yesterday. I killed all the monsters in the map, but like it's not letting me proceed.
where are you? Are you like, what act are you?
Act 4, it says the ally requires the Eye of Desire. I went to like it started by the 0, so I went to like the last place, the Grand Arena. I killed everything there, but that's it. I didn't get the item. It didn't drop it. And like
Did you actually fight Teresa?
No, he
Wait,
he never showed up.
Do you want us to theory craft our own meme build, or should we follow some build?
I mean, you can do whichever. Honestly, I might do the skeleton mines.
Is there something I gotta click in here? I'm confused as hell. Like the monsters came out of the floor and everything.
There's one thing, I think in the Grand Arena, there's one dead end. So you might have had to go backwards and then go forward. The other thing is, in the zone where there are 3 unique bosses, you have to kill the 3 unique bosses to get through the door to continue on. You might have missed one of those 2 things.
Wait, are you talking like before I enter arena? Like in the
Grand Arena.
In the Grand Arena, okay. Yeah. I did, I killed, like everything's dead. Like I'm running around and like nothing's spawning. What the hell? Why does this happen every time?
Okay, what's your username? I'll try and find out where the heck you are.
Exiled Nephrim. Wait, who are you? I can invite you.
I'm Ephraim. Well, I guess I'm Bone Deals on this character, so.
Wait, O'Neil's.
Oh, you just say?
I don't see you. Oh, I see you. Oh, you invited me, okay. Nah, like, I swear, like, I killed everything. Man, I must have, like, run around this place, like, 20 times now.
Pretty fast, so we'll just move
wait,
around.
I can part of you. What the fuck, you're already here?
Yeah, I'm pretty fast.
Wait, where are you?
I think this is a dead end. Yeah, this is a dead end.
But like, to fight the Zero, but he never spawned.
What it is like in the Grand Arena, there's I think a max of one dead end. So up there, you just like could not get on. But I think if you continue on from here, this should be the 3 boss. You've got a little bit more Grand Arena to go through.
Oh wait. What the hell? Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, so you haven't seen this yet, right?
No, I haven't. I thought for sure like where it was, like where I was supposed to be. Then okay, never mind. Alright, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
And
I think as long as the 3 mini bosses are in there, then you're in the right area.
alright. Mini bosses. Oh, okay, I see it, the blue guys or whatever. Yeah, they're here.
Yeah, that's like 3 dudes.
Oh shit. Alright, thanks man.
No problem.
Yesterday the dumbest thing happened. Let's see, I was in Act 3 and I was trying to do the I was trying to get to the Ebony Barracks, and you know how like you're supposed to go through the sewers and do that thing.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot about that, and I was trying to go like around it on the map before, and it had that like big barrier or whatever.
Oh, you try to go through the what the heck is that instance?
The
Battlefront.
Yeah. Oh my god, man! I spent like 30 minutes trying to figure it out before someone here helped me out. Told me I had to go through the sewers.
It's like the same situation with Act 1. If you try and go through the way forward, Heidi just like walks up and says, "You're not allowed through here." Then you have to go around through Prisoner's Gate into the Ship Graveyard Cave. It's the same idea. You go somewhere and then you find that you're blocked off and have to go somewhere else.
Hate those. They drive me nuts. Oh shit. Oh, these guys are hard.
You there. Let me beg.
So did you already start your new character person? Your meme build?
Wait, are you guys actually gonna go through that?
Maybe. I'm gonna have to think of something.
Who was the one that came up with it again?
The guy who's not here right now.
Oh, of course.
Knows username.
If you guys get to level 30-ish, you guys can just level up with me, see? And like, I don't need a meme build because I'm already bad at the game. So we're good. What the fuck is this guy?
think a good one would be Flame Dash Miner.
No.
Oh wait, I think I know what I would do. Make lightning warp totems work. Flame dash miner or lightning warp totems are great.
Huh.
Does Flame Dash Mines even work?
It works, but it doesn't do
God,
it.
I kind of want to try it right now.
I mean, I guess your damage would come from the burning ground that they leave.
What
That
works?
sounds horrible. That would not work.
Ooh, someone should do a fire trap build.
Man, is fire trap that bad? I guess Ignite did kind of get murdered.
Does Blade Fury get affected by cast speed or attack speed?
Attack speed.
Sorry about that weird burst out of laughter. I just put Flame Dash in my mind and see what it did.
Yep.
It's fucking horrible. My God,
There you go. That's a meme build.
it's so
Anyone
horrible.
know anything better than this that I can like buy? Like I can find from PoE trade? I got those iron gauntlets.
I really like Lactonia Crest for leveling.
Wait, what's it called?
The gloves that you linked, the Lactonia Crest, I'm a big fan of them for leveling because they give you all the charges.
I like them, but the thing is, I gotta find a way to get armor because
You
right now I only have 86 armor.
Does anyone want to come see the Flame Dash orbs in action?
Wait. Are you using like cluster mines or something?
Yeah.
God, do this.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
don't
Anyone who wants to, I'll invite them.
Here, fire me an invite. Bone deals.
don't confuse high armor with survivability in this game. You want life, energy shield, predominantly life, since energy shield got took a huge hit or got nerfed in 3.0.
What's alright, I got
Come to my hideout.
11 life and I'm level 35.
Show me the meme build.
What should my life be around right now?
It's
Around
really
700, honestly.
I wonder if you can actually kill mobs.
Oh, you can. It's just
I'm
really bad. Let's see, I'll show you.
I'm
As soon as I
taking
get
so
near
much
something.
damage, though. What the hell?
I mean,
Let me just send you a message
could we
again.
make this work? I feel like the answer is no, but I want to try it anyways.
Well, it sucks because it limits you to only like a few, because you know how.
You've got cooldown on mines and stuff.
Yeah. It's not just that. Flame Dash has its own cooldown specifically. I wonder what happens if I put like 3 right next to each other facing different direction. Woo!
It's just like entirely random. I mean, okay, I'm gonna go see if I can find a way to make lightning warp totems happen. What would I need to make a lightning warp totem work?
But you're saying lightning warp, not orb, right?
No, lightning warp totems, they're really weird.
Oh my God, I've always wanted to do that.
I think I'm gonna need, like...
I actually might. Oh, did you already decide to do that one?
I have no idea. I have many meme builds in my head. Don't know which one
What
to
other
use.
ones are you thinking of?
I mean, I was thinking of trying to make Worm Blaster happen, but I don't know if that's ever gonna exist ever again.
Have you guys seen that one where, like, they're made as a lab runner and they can run like 30 billion miles per hour?
Nope.
No? I'll link it.
What I prefer is the build that has negative 99% movement speed.
Oh my God.
That's a good one. Lightning Warp took 6 minutes to cast.
Okay, Mr. Reddit.
Hell yeah, dude.
Did you see the level 90 hardcore lightning warp totem build?
I don't think I actually did. I just keep getting reminded of lightning warp totems every time I do torture chamber, and I just want to make it happen. Oh, here's a good one. You use Scorching Ray and you use cast when damage taken lightning warp. That's a fun one.
That doesn't sound very fun.
It's fun if it works. Most of the time it doesn't work.
I've said it before.
And there has to be like a way around this. Oh wait. What's a really good jewel for resistance? That I can just
Some
get.
rare jewel? Don't know if there are good unique jewels that just give resistance. Could get a jewel with like all res and I don't know, something else.
Now, do you mean a jewel or a skill gem?
No, no, just a jewel. Like, I have one jewel slot that's gonna be available right now. Like it's empty, and I was just trying to find like something good to put there. I think my damage is good right now. I'm just like taking too much damage. So I was gonna.
A lot of your damage is going to come from basically your weapons. Just
Right.
starting out, if you got basically, I'd say 99% of your damage is going to come from your weapons. What weapons are you using currently?
Mortem, Morsu, Frightclaw.
I,
I have Blade Flurry, cold damage, and melee physical damage support.
are they being linked? Can you link your chess piece
The chest piece. Yeah.
in guild chat?
Link it in guild chat or like.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Either or.
Alright. Give me 1 second. Here, I'll link my stuff. That, that.
Just link it to me in Intel. Oh,
Okay.
never mind. That's okay. Yeah,
Hey, I didn't link my
Oops.
Oh, you're Ashley Williams.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Don't worry about it. I got you. I'm about to hook you up.
See, I listen to you. I'm trying to get a resistance jewel. I just don't know where to
Don't
find it now.
don't worry about resistance, Jewel. You're not gonna get the resistance that you need from a resistance jewel based on the gear that you have. But I can get you what you need.
Alright.
If you give me like 5 to 10 minutes.
That's fine. Should I focus on like maybe attack speed or something like that for like my open jewel slot?
I mean, I got tons of jewels, man. I give you something, whatever you want to use. Uh,
I'm trying to think. Like I'm looking up in like the wiki right now.
Sent you a party invite.
Oh my bad. I was
No worries. I know it kind of just it doesn't. It's kind of a.
Oh, like it doesn't show like through like out of the other window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Wait, or jewels don't have any level requirements, do they?
No, they do not.
All right, cool. I can just like start getting the jewels I need right now for my end game then.
It's not a good idea, honestly,
No.
because your end game, unless you have, uh, unless you know exactly what you're going to be using
Yes,
for
I'm
end game.
following a guide.
But for the guide, do you have that exact same gear that guide has?
Oh no, I don't.
Then that's where the variation is going to come into play. Those jewels that you get now might not be the most beneficial when you get 70, 60, 70 levels into your end game, where you need, I don't know, 5 more res somewhere or 10 more res somewhere. Save your end game jewels for end game, basically. Buy your end game stuff at end game is what you kind of want to do.
Alright, okay. Mm,
Destruction, 35,000. Are you not using another weapon? Are you only using the one claw?
no, that's what I said. Like it's the same class, so I didn't link it.
Okay, my bad.
No, that's fine. I did have a shield at my earlier levels, and like I wasn't taking as much damage then. I think I was like blocking it or something, but I wasn't doing as much damage. So yeah.
Let me see. 35.
Do you have any Scion classes?
I do, but
Like, alright. Well, like I know like I'm gonna be focusing on dexterity, right?
no.
Wait, what? Yeah.
No.
What the
You
fuck?
don't focus specifically on the attribute unless you're actually doing a build that requires that attribute for, let's say, your end game damage, basically. Like last league or last 2.6 gameplay pre 3.0, there was a build called Howa build, or Hand of Wisdom in Action, and that was a weapon. It was a claw that the damage scaled proportionally to your intelligence, basically. So the higher your intelligence was, the more damage you would get from that claw. Are you using anything similar to that? I'm already saying no, because there are no weapons currently in the game that scale off of dex, excluding a crossbow, or excuse me, a bow. Are you using that specific bow?
Nah, the build is just telling me to get like a rare claw, and then for my offhand put a Moonbender swing.
Oh, it's a conversion build.
Yeah.
the conversion blade flurry build.
for Blade Flurry.
Yeah.
Like I've been reading it. It doesn't use energy shield. It uses like high health. And
All builds use high health currently, unless you got the money.
not unless you go. I was reading like the other builds. There's this one that uses like just no health at all, and it uses the chaos support. So like they have to hit your energy shield.
He's got money, or he or she or whoever, they've probably been playing a long time where they've collected a lot of I guess legacy gear or pre nerf gear where they can support the ES reduction well enough where it's not a big thing to them.
When you say money though, you mean like in-game money or?
Correct.
Okay, because I was gonna say like this game, it's not pay to win at all, so I wasn't sure.
Somewhat.
But I mean, if you're talking about like those things like where you buy shit, like I don't, I don't trust that shit.
It's good. You shouldn't, because it's the easiest and quickest way to get banned.
Good. Nah, I fully support this game. Like the only things you can buy with real money are like cosmetic items. It's perfect.
And there are stash tabs.
How do you guys go through all those? Like you get 4 and they're huge. Like what the hell? What's wrong with you people?
That's how GGG makes their money.
Listen, you guys now remember Diablo 2? Like how the tabs are like so small that people used to cube as a way to store items?
True.
That little ass cube, man. From whatever, the erotics cube, whatever it's called.
I mean, granted,
Yeah.
you are allowed 25 characters, so technically, if you do fill up, you can use other characters as a temporary stash tab.
Yeah, see? Yeah, there. Just use mules.
But that kind of, with the amount of items in this game that you get, you go through them relatively fast, honestly.
I mean, I'm waiting to buy like a cosmetic items, but like so far I haven't seen anything that I like.
Can you?
Like, they reset on leaks, right? Like right now it's Harbinger.
No.
There are different MTX you can get from supporter packs, but you don't lose your MTX at the end of the season.
No, I'm saying like every new season they come up with it like a new set, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So right now it's Harbinger, and I think they still have the Oriath ones. I haven't actually checked in a while.
That sounds familiar because I was on the shop page on their website earlier.
Yeah.
The Fall of Orioth or whatever, is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if you
they
like
still
one of the packs, then you also just get a lot of points, and you can buy other stuff.
Yeah, I'm waiting on, but like a different one. I don't like anything that. I saw this guy with the pirate costume. I wanted to buy that, but it wasn't available.
Charlie,
Pretty awesome.
what are you doing?
Pretty badass.
There are also a lot of items, just like in the game with good 3D art, that people will skin transfer to like make stuff.
Oh, you can do that? You can like change the appearance of
You can
items?
take like normally unique items, I'm gonna say, but sometimes like certain rare bases, or just like normal item bases. You can skin transfer them onto other items, sacrificing the item, but then getting the like art onto something else.
Oh shit, okay. Cause like, I hate, man, all the armor we're up to now, like I hate how they look, you know?
Yeah.
Ugly as shit. No, like, don't get me wrong, I love this game and like the way it looks, the design, similar to Diablo 2. But like the armor itself, I don't know.
A really good example is using, I think, the brass dome and then some helmet off Chimera that I can't remember the name of. You can make a really, really good looking armor set for what is essentially like 12 points.
Huh.
So,
Like, look, like this guy is wearing literally a white T-shirt.
Hey,
What the hell is that? A fucking white T-shirt.
it's a tabula.
You tell me how that will protect you from like attacks. All right, that guy should be dying to me right now.
You know that white T-shirt reminds me of the tabula. Reminds me of Batman's Ra's al Ghul,
Oh,
the dude who trained Batman. That's kind of where
yeah.
I assume like that the tabula.
Rasa?
Mm-hmm. Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that does sound similar.
Because this game, I don't know. If I were to bet, I'd say they pull a lot of this stuff in this game from other content. Honestly, heavily.
Isn't the developers from this game the original developer team from Diablo 2 though?
You tell me. I don't
Could've
know.
sworn that's the reason I started playing this game. Let me see here. Path of Exile.
I don't think they are. I thought that some of the developers went to Torchlight too. But I don't think they went to PoE.
Yeah. Um, wait. I could have sworn like pretty sure. Yeah, look, Diablo 2 lead developer David Brecky helping Path of Exile. Like there's maybe not the whole team, but like some lead developers from Diablo 2 came to Path of Exile. I don't know if like they started when the game was like when it was still in development, but I know like we got some Diablo 2 developers helping Path of Exile, like in the very least, which is good because like Diablo 3 is shit. I hated how that game ended.
Oh man.
I really tried to play that game. I tried to like it, you know, because Diablo and all, but
You're not a true Diablo fan, then.
I, man, I am. I tried. I tried to like it. Like I forced myself, but not even the Necromancer class like helped. They changed like everything too much. I'm pretty sure they would have made people happier if they just like re-released Diablo 2 with like better graphics.
Probably. I know I would have been happier.
I think Green Guy made Path of Diablo. That's apparently like pretty good.
Yeah, I tried it. Even the Diablo 2 mods are better than Diablo 3. Like, and surprisingly enough, I still have like I have Diablo 2 linked still to my Blizzard account. So I went there the other day, and there was actually more people on Diablo 2 than on Diablo 3. So
Really.
take that what you will. More people still play Diablo 2 than Diablo 3. How's that right there? See?
Means people know a good game when they play it.
And that game's like what? Like 20 years old or more?
Pretty much. What neck piece? Sweet.
Alright, I think I found something good. What about hungering? Huh? Can't tell me that's bad.
I don't know what that is.
Hungering, 0.2 to 0.4% of physical attack damage, leech this life, for, Jewel. I have, cause I have, Soulbreaker, so I already have 1.2% of attack damage, leech this life. using claws, so if I use claws, I also have more damage. So I was thinking of putting that jewel, like for more survivability, like life leech. What do you think?
Once I'm done giving you all this stuff, it's not going to really matter, honestly.
I was trying to. Alright.
Try,
I'd almost just use
don't-
Torment at this point and forgo Leech for a long time.
Man, how does this guy make it work though? Like the guide I'm following, he kills Shaper so fast, but he
he knows how to. He's obviously fought Shaper before, and he knows how to position himself. Basically, I mean Shaper is all about position.
The thing with that conversion build though is I don't think it does Shaper through skill. I'm pretty sure he just has several million DPS and basically blows him up in like 2 seconds.
yes, yeah, but like, all right, wait here. Let me give you the like, all right, because where's the chat? Like I'm looking at the gift, and like he takes like so much damage, like his health goes like to halfway, and then literally like a second later, it just like not even a second, he already has like half health after taking that damage. Like his life leech must be insane or something, because I don't know.
Oh, do you know Volpact?
Wait, does he have what?
He probably has Volpact. Do you know what
Volpact?
Volpact is? It makes it so that your life leech is instant. So most of the time what ends up happening is you overleech. So your leech is like it's ticking up, but you're not actually really making use of it because you're waiting for your leech to actually go to your HP bar. Volpact
Oh,
makes it
are
so
you
you
talking about the
instantly
passive?
leech life. Yeah, that's what Volpact is.
Take care.
Volpact. Okay. I don't. Let me see if he. Right now, the skill tree that I'm on, he has it up to level 30. So I didn't see it. Let me see it. Oh yeah, he does have Volpact.
Yeah.
Should I be using that to level?
No.
Maybe. Man. Uh, I'm trying here. I'm trying to like
It's
set
all
up.
good.
Volpact just feels really bad for leveling. It's like leveling with Mind Over Matter, the skill that makes you take mana as damage. You just
Oh, I was.
take damage
Don't.
to your mana, run out of mana, and die.
Wait, are you serious? I was using that for my elementalist. Is it
Did you
bad?
level with it?
Yeah, I'm level
Oh,
33.
really good, but it's not good to level with.
Ah, shit. I'm like doing everything wrong that you could be doing wrong. That's nice.
It's a learning experience.
Alright, alright. I see the input.
This is kind of an insane build as well. It's
Wait,
like,
true
I
chat.
have a friend trying to make it work, but
Can
it's
I?
crazy.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. My bad. I don't have space.
No problem.
I can't put this stuff in my inventory for some reason. I think it's stuck. Alright, I'm ready now. Wait. I don't know if this is enough, but
Oh,
here, these
oh,
are all I have.
keep your money. I don't want it.
But, alright. Oh, thanks a lot then.
Trade accept. There you go.
You're making me wear the white t-shirt that I was, like, talking bad about?
Pretty much. I mean, if you want the best leveling chest piece,
This, aren't you?
nope. It's the best leveling chest piece in game.
What? How? It
'Cause
says socketed skill gems get a 95% mana multiplier.
that's actually that's my personal tabula. That's really good if you're trying to conserve mana, basically, or lower the mana cost of your skill. Whenever you have a skill, basically an active skill, has a base mana cost on it. If you look at it, mana cost, mana whatever. Each support gem that you link to that skill gem, the support gems have a clear mana multiplier on it. So 140, 110. That mana cost on an active skill gem gets multiplied by the mana multiplier on support gems. So the more support you put onto an active skill gem, the more it costs. So that mana multiplier basically reduces
all that by 95.
pretty much.
Oh, I thought I was reading it wrong. I thought like it was like adding onto it, like the cost.
It's like this game, it's kind of confusing. This game,
Yeah,
a lot of this.
no, because it says like 95% mana multiplier, so like 1 times. Oh wait, shit, that would be 1 plus. Okay, now I see. Okay, yeah, you're right. Wow. Okay.
It took me a little bit to figure it out too. So
Dang. Oh wait, here, trade me again, really quick. Someone else might need this.
you don't need it.
I actually have the same ones,
You don't have them 4-link though.
but mine's got a little more attack. Alright, you know what? I'll just take yours.
Just take them.
Thank you. Here, I'm about to take mine. Like someone else might need them, right?
Use them. Use them. Once you're done using them, you're more than welcome to give them back. If you don't give them back, sell them. Do whatever you want with them. It's all you. If you want to give them,
I've been putting stuff on the guild stash. I don't know. Like whenever I take something, put something that, just in case.
if you know what you're putting in there, it's all good. But 38, you're 35.
Alright, let's try this on. What does onslaught do?
It's a temporary buff that gives you 20% attack speed, 20% cast speed, and 20% movement speed increase. All three get increased.
Oh shit. What the hell?
The thing that sucks with Blade Flurry and attack speed is you will not see a change in DPS with more attack speed. The tooltip doesn't change for Blade Flurry with more attack speed. It's kind of shady like that. Unless they changed it in 3.0, I haven't used it since. I haven't used it post 3.0.
Wait, are you sure? Cause
Is it going up with more attack speed?
yeah, like, alright, these gloves that I have, Loctonio Caress Iron Gauntlets.
Uh-huh.
They're increased attack speed though.
Yeah,
They're not
that's the only thing that it has like positive, increased attack speed, and they. Oh wait, shit, no, it's not.
It's all good.
Fuck. These gloves are so good though. I like them. I was using frost plates with them, and I was like hitting like everything.
They are. They're really good claws. No doubt. Or gloves.
I guess I was shit. I guess they're useless for now.
What do you mean useless for now? No, they're still good. They still up the attack speed of Blade Flare. Your attacks per second do increase. I don't know why it doesn't show in the tooltip. Your damage still increases. It just doesn't
Okay.
reflect it with the tooltip.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Okay. Wait, do you want me to use Wanderlust or Mesh Boots? You gave me 2 boots.
Use basically the Wanderlust are nice leveling up boots because it protects you against freeze, but you get a heck of a lot more DPS from the wake destruction or whatever they're called. Use whichever one you prefer, honestly.
Okay.
because I think the Wanderlust will give you more mana regeneration. When you link everything to Blade Flare, you might use too much mana per second, so the Wanderlust should help mitigate some of that.
And I guess I should put Blade Flurry on the Tabula Rasa, right?
Correct.
Oh shit. I'm gonna have a lot of support links because I got 3 more slots now.
Yep, and that's where I'm coming. I'm pulling out some stuff that you can link with it, and you link whatever you want with it, play around, do whatever. See what you like.
That's kind of weird. Like, it doesn't matter if it's linked to the weapon or armor. Pretty weird. Oh, wow.
You're good.
30. Oh, cool. Thank you.
Do you have a movement skill?
Like a dash.
Yeah, something like that, like Whirling Blade or.
Yeah. I got Whirling Blades. I saw this. I got Whirling Blades because I saw this person using it, but like his was different. His was you couldn't even see the blades, and he was moving like fucking fast.
That's probably shield charge.
No, I asked him what he was using, and he said Whirling Blades. So
Really?
yeah, he said he put something to decrease like the cast rate. I think it was.
Talking about Flame Dash?
No, Whirling Blades. I don't know.
Don't think there's any MTX that make it look different, so it should have looked the same as yours, or it's just something else.
He was just like no, he was just like going around the map so fast that I couldn't see the like you couldn't see the animation. Like alright, like if I use mine, I see the animation and I see like the blades going around me, but like his was like there was no stop in between each dash. If that makes sense.
It's probably just that he had a lot of attack speed. I got an X drop. Cool.
Attack speed effects. Whirling blades.
Correct. More attack speed, the faster you can do it.
Huh.
So I gave you another increased attack speed. Or faster attack support.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I guess I should put it here. Every third attack. Alright, I got a question then. So I got Morden Morsu Frightclaw, right?
Uh-huh.
And it says 20% of physical damage converted to chaos damage. Even though I'm putting all the gems on Tabula Rasa, like you said,
Uh-huh.
will that affect Blade Flare or no?
The physical damage for Blade Flurry for your main active skill, the physical damage will still get converted to chaos damage. The more physical damage you put into Blade Flurry, the more physical damage gets converted to chaos damage. The active,
It's not linked to the weapon though.
basically, each skill gem requires specifics. There's very few skill gems that can be used in any situation. Your skill gem basically needs a specific weapon in order to be used. So it uses the weapon that's currently equipped.
Oh, I thought it had to be linked to whatever. Like I thought whatever gem was linked to whatever slot, it uses those stats. So if it had like I don't know, 90% increased physical damage on like the boots, and you put the gem on that boot, then it would get that stat.
No, sadly, that's not. There are certain.
Oh my. Okay. All right.
There are certain pieces of gear that will influence socketed gems in that gear, but unless it says socketed gem does or socketed gems get this or socketed gems do this, it's not influenced by that gear's modifiers.
Alright, alright. See, like the reason like I'm confused, like I asked all these questions, is legit because like I'm coming from Diablo 2, so like it's similar, but like everything like works so different. Like unique items are so different. They're like they're items that just have like a set number and a set uh skills. Like if you get like I forgot like the orb for sorcerers, like there's this orb that you get, and like no matter what you do to it, even if you re-roll it, it will always have the same skills, just like better or lesser quality, like for the percentage.
It's kind of like uniques in here. Uniques are their stats or modifiers are set for that unique. They do a lot of uniques, if not all uniques, do have for certain modifiers on that unique do have a range that you can roll in between, but for the most part, that unique is stuck with those modifiers. There's really very few ways to take them off or add to those modifiers. But the difference is rares in this.
But I mean, there if you put a gem in a weapon, that only gets affected by that. Like it's not global modifiers, you know?
It's been quite a while since I played Diablo 2. Like maybe 10 years.
What the hell? Uh, I play too. Like I have the actual keys, so I played on Blizzard, and then I have a separate Diablo 2, like that's like in one of those modded private server things. Not Path of Diablo, but it's different. Alright, see, I'm learning a lot from you guys over here now. I'm gonna change all my shit. Watch. Alright, hey, you might not believe me. Wait, where are you?
I'm right next to the stash box.
Alright, this ring that you gave me, right? The Black Heart Iron Ring?
Uh-huh.
Alright, this one, the one that I was putting on, some reason gives me more damage.
Because the adds 1 to 28 lightning damage to attacks. So basically, the more added damage to attacks, it requires a specific.
I see. No, I got it. So, alright, if I get a gem right now that says, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to Nessa in Act 1 and get a lightning support gem and then put it on that weapon.
Why?
Yeah,
On the weapon or the skill?
for the weapon, like the skill will affect it, right?
No, unless you link the lightning support gem to the skill itself, the lightning gem doesn't really do anything. The lightning support gem doesn't really do anything. I think I have one though. I got one.
I got it already. I got it.
Mine's level 8 though.
You're killing me. Alright.
If you want, I mean, you don't have to have it.
I mean, I want it. It's just that like, kind of feel bad. You're
Huh?
giving me all this shit for free.
Who said it was for free?
What?
No, I'm just messing.
No, wait. Mine's actually level 8 too. I don't know why though. I just bought Nessa.
Nessa, like certain vendors, certain skill gem vendors will sell. I don't really know how to say it. I guess class specific skill gem vendors. The skill gems actually gain experience as you level up, so it makes it easier when you want to buy a new skill gem. It doesn't start it all the way at level 1, but they incorporated in 3.0 several new vendors that do sell all the skill gems at level 1 regardless of what level you're at. So you don't really have to worry too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. Is this ring right here good for endgame? Or I mean, not endgame. Obviously, I'm not gonna have like that good of a ring, but like here, I'm just gonna like for like late game, late game.
Don't use that. Don't use that ring unless
But it gives me like 96% cold resistance. You just told me.
unless you have a specific build meant for that ring, you will not utilize it because it's not the resistance is on that ring that matters. It's the elemental equilibrium that matters on that ring.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Exactly. That's why he shouldn't be using it.
Alright.
What elemental equilibrium does is basically whenever you attack a monster, that monster will gain 75% resistance to a specific element that you're attacking with. So if you attack it with fire, it gains 75% elemental resistance to fire. If you attack it with lightning, or if you attack it with tri-elemental damage, it gains resistances to all three. The good thing about elemental equilibrium is the
Once immune to cold, they'll balance out.
the other two resistances, lightning and fire, becomes weak to basically.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay.
So you have to basically.
Would be good for my elementalist witch, cause like, I'm trying to get her like, I'm doing a vortex build that has like fire support, like fire and lightning support on it. So like, if I encounter uh like cold resistant mobs or immune or whatever, I'll still do damage to them, right? Because I will have fire and lightning damage support.
There are very few monsters in this game that are truly immune to certain types of damage. I don't even think any monsters in this game are immune to damage or any specific damage. Honestly, they're
That'll help
They've
out
all the
Reflecto, right?
immunities recently. They removed the immunities on Hydra and them because they balanced out poison and bleed and stuff like that. So I think anything works on anything now, except maybe Ignite on Ansiri. I don't know if she got changed.
Oh shit, my damage just went like insanely high right now. I'm playing around with like the gems they give me, trying to see what's better.
That's what you gotta do, man. You gotta see what works.
I think I figured out like the idea of how I want to do my main build, but I'm not like 100% sure.
Are you still guys trying to do that?
I'm still well. It's like I'm probably just gonna like build it myself.
You know what? I might do that
gonna be tough.
It'll already be tough, like no matter what I do. Don't worry. I was trying to figure out what's like better now, like flat or percentage. But, like right now, percentage is like helping me out more, so I'm gonna change this one out. I guess like percentage. I mean, obviously, is better. Like when you once you stack it.
Yeah.
Fire. What's that? Gonna get cold. Is Blade Flurry similar enough to like ethereal knives? Ethereal knives? Like if I
No.
It's actually F-Knives is actually a spell. So it won't actually scale off a lot of the attack speed and stuff that you have. It scales off the cast speed.
I was just thinking like if I get bored like later on of blade like of using the same skill I can maybe like swap it out for. Oh wait,
There
what
are
about
skills that you can mess around.
Blade Vortex like that? That's pretty similar, right?
It's actually also kind of a spell. There's like
What
3
the hell?
physical spells you have to watch out for, and they're Blade Fall, Blade Vortex, and
Ethereal knives.
yeah,
Blade
knives.
Fall.
But there are a fair number of physical skills you could just mess with. Blade
Can't
Flare
get
you'll
one right.
probably find to be the best one though.
You guys are killing me. Like I cannot get one right because you know.
Get one
You
what?
can use it, but it won't do a lot of damage. It won't scale very well because of the way that you're building your character.
I can't find it.
What are you looking for?
Wiki. Like I see the what's it called? The I just saw it, the added cold damage support, but it's flat. It's not percentage on like the one Nessa selling. And I thought there is one because the fire one that I have is percentage.
Talk about cold penetration or fire penetration.
Oh shit! I never thought about that. The penetration. I should get like at least one penetration, huh?
Kinda depends how your build works. I don't know what you convert to, but you'll use penetration on whatever you convert to, probably.
I see.
I'm trying to go with shot. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to think here.
I honestly have no idea how the build works. I've seen it, but I've never actually, like, looked into it.
there's no percentage over here. That's weird. Same with cold. I'm just gonna go with fire then. Like the cold and lightning support gems are both flat, but then when I go to fire, it says supported gain skills gains blah 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 percent of physical damage, but it's only for fire.
It's similar if you've used the heralds. Herald of Fire gives you some percentage of your damage as fire. Herald of Ice gives you some flat, and Herald of Thunder gives you flat.
Oh, I see. Oh, you mean Herald of Ash, right?
Yeah,
That's
sorry,
the one.
Herald of Ash.
I'm gonna stack all of it. Alright, get that. And then I'm gonna get penetration. Oh, but then the buffs reserve some of my mana.
Yeah.
I got a lot of options now thanks to the armor you gave me.
Are you using 2 claws right now?
Yeah. Is that bad?
Well, I don't actually know. Haven't looked, but you might actually be able to level with Moonbender's Wing. It's because PoE's got a really weird thing going on where if you have a weapon that you can't use the skill with in your offhand, but you have one you can use it with in your main hand, you'll just only use your main hand weapon, and the other weapon will just give you the stats on it.
But
So
it
it
says required
might
level 70 though.
actually be good. 80.
80. Yeah, I'm only level 35. I can't put it on, right?
What level is it? Don't
Moonbender's
actually know.
Wing. Right over here it says requires level 70.
Holy crap! Yeah, I did not know that.
That must be
I wish.
required level starting 39 for the Moonbender.
What? Where do you see that? What the
That's
heck?
the upgraded one, right? I think it's props here.
The one I'm looking says Moonbender's Wing Tomahawk 100x. At the bottom it says corrupted.
Oh, it's corrupted. I think you can add mods that increase the required level.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you're looking at it with gems already socketed into it, that will change the level also.
It's also a possibility.
Oh, yeah. There's this summon ice golem requires level 70.
There you go.
Alright. See, you guys. It's a good thing. You know what? Moonbender's Wing Tom. I'm just gonna look it up in PoE trade. You guys are right. The required level is 39. I can like.
The thing you have to consider though is your DPS numbers are gonna start looking really weird. You might like look at them and say, "Oh, I equip Moonbenders and I lose like 50% of my damage." PoE is really bad with stat sticking. It doesn't really like calculate things correctly, so it's gonna look a bit weird.
Moonbender's Wing is only one alchemy orb. I can buy that up right now from this guy. I'm gonna buy that.
You owe me 5 Elks. I don't know how you're gonna do that.
Hey, you know what? You know what? I promise I'll pay you back.
Nah, you.
Nah, nah,
What are you
nah,
doing?
nah. Oh wait, my bad. Wait, just give me.
I don't want any money. Just I got a couple more items to give you, and then
All I did was send you a friend request. Once I get to level 70, I'll send
that
you.
last one is a jewel that'll help with your mana regeneration rate.
Oh, nice. I actually do have an MT. Because before I was using 5 for survival, but then I learned that sadly Blade Flurry doesn't have its own jewel, and I was like crying. Very sad. guys AFK? Hey, how do you guys get the universal socket on an item?
The white socket?
Yeah, is it random or like?
Some items come with it, but to get it on other items, you have to corrupt them.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's a percentage too, based on how many sockets the item have and how many you want to get universal socketed. It's like one in 4 to socket to get one universal, 1 in 40 to get 2, 1 in 400 to get 3, so on and so forth.
1 in 400. What the fuck?
Pretty much. This game loves its statistics basically, where it's
If it's already corrupted and it doesn't have a white socket, I can't get a white socket basically.
correct. It's considered bricked at that moment. You can still change the color sockets on there, but it requires a master Varici level 8, and that takes forever to get.
So I should make sure like the one I'm buying is the one I need.
And also make sure you look at that level too of the item you're buying, because enchants, corruptions, certain modifications on that item will change the level of the item. So you see you're buying an item for your level, it's got an enchant that requires level 52, you can't use your SOL. Read that level, man. Read that level.
What item level should I be going for then?
Stuff that you can equip, basically, when you come to it. Like, let's say you buy the Moonbender whatever wing. You want to use that 39. You don't want to buy one that's at 70 and wait all the way to 7. I mean, you can if you have.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay, alright, okay. Alright. Yeah, that makes sense. I thought you were talking about like the item level of the actual item.
Nah.
Man, both players, like the only two good Moonbender swing, they're both AFK.
Oh,
Like,
when it comes to Moonbender, you don't really need to, at least I think in stat sticks, you probably don't need to worry about any of the rolls on it, because the damage on it won't affect your actual damage at all.
oh, I was only looking at the two because they're corrupted and they have one white socket. The others are none of them have a white socket.
Don't worry about getting a Moonbender wing with a white socket. It's better to get one uncorrupted, because a 3-socket item, the colors of the sockets on a 3-socket item is, I guess, it's super easy to change. It's not a big deal at this point. When you get into like 5 sockets and 6 sockets, changing the color on those items is a little bit more tricky, depending on the base of the item. You also
Corrupted changes. I thought
corrupted can do one of 4 things. Basically, it can give it just a corruption modifier, doesn't really do anything. It can change the colors of the socket, 1 or 2 or 3 or all of the socket colors. It can add a specific val corruption implicit, which you would have to actually look up on the wiki. And then it can actually change the item into a different item, into a rare. Generally, I don't think it can change a unique into another unique. It generally goes from a unique into a rare or a rare into another rare.
Oh, then there's no point for me to get it corrupted.
Correct.
Because, like... Wait, what's calling strike?
That is a specific implicit or a special implicit that Val Corruption would give to an item that allows you to kill a monster when it hits 10% life or less.
Oh, okay, that's why he does have that. Alright, I'll just get it uncorrupted and then get that myself.
I mean, if you can get it with that implicit, I mean, that's a really good implicit on a thing. I don't think the guy is really legitly selling it for...
No, you're right. None of the ones on PoE trade are selling it with that, so I'm just gonna do what you said and buy it, like, not corrupted. And then when I get to that point, I'll just, I guess, corrupt it myself and then get that.
Probably, I mean, you really more than likely won't have to corrupt an item. Get my butt kicked.
The corrupted ones are cheaper than the ones that are not corrupted?
Sometimes.
How?
Well, if you get an item that's corrupted, you cannot change the socket color, and you can, but it takes more currency to do so, and it takes a mass. You need Verici level 8 to do that, and not a lot of people have that, so it's more of a pain in the ass to change the sockets as well as the socket colors.
I see. Makes sense.
The reason why you want to keep your sockets basically fluid, adjustable, is because you're not really sure what you're going to be using as your level. Maybe you really can't get that last little bit of resistance going from 50 to 65 or something. You want to use a purity gem. Well, if you don't have the socket color for it on your weapon or whatever, it just makes things that much more difficult for you. It's basically about staying fluid, adapting to what this game throws your way.
Throwing a lot of shit my way. Too much. Too much. Alright, I got it. I'm ready now. I'm set. Oh wait, no. I gotta buy Herald of Ash and Fire Penetrations. I can get that.
I gave you a Herald of Ash though.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay, alright.
So you already have it.
Alright, so Fire Penetration, Act 3, Ciosa. Oh, lag. Wait, what? Hey, does anyone know where Ciosa is? Because I actually don't see it in Act 3.
Say again?
I'm in the wiki is saying, vendor, this skill can be bought at said NPC vendors. After completing the following quest, I did, and it's saying the NPC is Ciosa,
You
but I
know
don't.
the Imperial Gardens where you went to get the Dominus?
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I gotta go all the way there?
Yeah. Instead of going to the right to go to the Scepter of God, you go to the left to get to the library.
Oh, I gotta go inside the library?
Yeah.
I thought I had a waypoint there, but I don't. Okay.
There were actually a lot of useless zones in PoE for a while, ones that you could literally skip and never do. I think there is now only one that you can skip.
Talking about the Dread Thicket?
I think it's the only one in the game you can just actually skip because it has actually nothing.
Oh shit, I think I lost my whirling blades. I don't have it anymore. I don't see it.
Did you hit X and change weapons?
No, I don't have anything on my other one, but I can't find it. Oh wait, never mind. I never took it off my other equipment.
Well, there you go.
Shit. Alright.
Here. I'm going to invite you again. Or invite me again, I guess. If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Fire.
You know what? I can't even put fire penetration. What's better? What do you think? Fire penetration or Herald of Ash?
At your level, Herald of Ash would be more beneficial.
Alright, have enough. I mean, I could take. Nah. I could take out elemental damage with the text, but then that's. Nah.
Hopefully you didn't buy one, but if you did, oh well. Now you have two.
Hey, where did you buy it?
Act 6, Lily Ross, she starts selling them.
Oh, not that one. Yeah, wait, let me see. 302. Take that out. Oh, penetration doesn't factor into the um
Tooltip?
yeah, the tooltip. Yeah.
That's correct.
Fucking that's annoying. That's bad game design right there.
Maybe. If you ever get the chance, there's a program called Path of Builder? Path of Building? I don't know.
That's Path of Building, I think.
Yeah, that will actually.
Path. Wait, Path of Builder.
Path of Building.
Path of Building.
Path of Building, yeah. It's basically an app you download onto your computer, and it
All right. I
it
see it.
it allows you to basically, I don't know, build your build, and it incorporates all all modifiers into your overall DPS. So if you put fire penetration on there and you want to see what kind of damage it would cause your skill to do, Path of Building would show that in your tooltip, or it would show it in its tooltip. So
Do I gotta put everything in manually or
you
You can import
plug in?
it from the interwebs.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. I'm actually like installing it right now.
it does take a little bit to get the hang of using it. It's a little confusing at first, but it is. I'd say it's really worth it, honestly. Putting in the time to.
Thanks to you, you killed one of my tabs. It's completely full.
There you go. 1 down, 3 to go.
I blame you.
It's fine by me. That's what I'm here for. Kill your tabs.
The maniacal plan to eventually get new players to buy stash tabs.
Pretty much.
I'm actually thinking about it already.
I actually work for GGG. That's kind of what they hire me to do.
Wait, GGG, what's that?
Grinding gear games.
Oh, is that the people Path of Exile?
Yes.
You lie.
Ooh.
You lie.
What do you mean?
Nah. See, I don't believe you.
You don't have to believe me. I just want your money.
You want my money?
He's actually being paid commission right now.
Oh, really? Every time he helps me out, he gets paid.
Every stash tab.
Yeah. Every time he makes you buy a stash tab, he makes like 10%.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty. What are they, like $2? So you get 20 cents?
If only. If only. You kind of have to like buy a set amount of points, and then you can buy the stash tab. But the thing is,
It was 20 points, right? Yeah. Where is it? Oh. Guild? Oh no, account features. I see it. Oh, 30 points. That's $3.
but try and buy points. See how well that gets you, how far that gets you.
Oh shit, I see what you mean. Okay.
You have to buy a specific amount of points,
Fuck that.
and then.
The recommended way is always supporter packs, but if you don't have it, then you can maybe wait around.
That's what I want to do. I'm waiting for like a good armor set that I like to show up, and then I'm gonna buy that.
That is honestly one of the better ways to go, because they do have some really cool armor packs for supporter packs.
I like the one that's like $100, but I don't think I mean, I got the money. I just spending like putting that much money into.
Don't do it, man. Save it for your stash tabs. You're going to need it.
Well, you buy
Yeah,
the
not
supporter
that
pack
much.
and use the money to buy your stash tabs.
Alright, you guys are
However,
making it sound like Stash Tab is the most expensive thing.
It's not.
wait for them on sale. They're a bit cheap.
I mean, technically, the amount you end up buying, they become the most expensive. But I don't know.
Oh wait, Essence of Contempt. Is that the thing you were talking about? Like, what the hell is that? No, never mind. That's not it. That's just I don't know what the hell that is. So I got a question for you. Very important question. Did you use me to clear up your stash space, your inventory space?
No, I actually gave you some of my personal stuff, like stuff that I used to level with.
I was kidding, like kind of.
I got
I appreciate it.
GGG's been very nice to me with all the stash apps they hooked me up with. So
Well, why are there like a million almost white 5 links in the guild stash?
Whoa! This talisman you gave me, it just upped my damage by a crazy amount. But the one I had was pretty good.
that's you want the one you had on. You really want to use when you're doing ranged weapons and stuff like that. Projectile damage.
Yeah, I'm actually I don't know if you were here when I said it, but like this is my first like real character because I'm using the guide from the forums. But I'm also saving up because like the next second character I do, I'm gonna like do it completely by myself. Like after I level up.
I doubt that. No offense, I'm not saying, but I seriously doubt you will do your next build by yourself. I would honestly highly recommend not doing that to save yourself a headache and the time, unless you're really good at planning stuff out.
Like I wanna make a tornado shot build, but I don't wanna like just look up a guide a build and just where's the fun in that? Like right now I'm doing it so I can learn the game, but
Well, I mean, you don't really have to follow a build verbatim. It's not something that's set in stone like you have to do this. It's you choose a build because the reason why you want to follow a build is because it's proven to get that character to a certain point in the game. That's the main reason why you want to follow a build. You want to enjoy us up to a certain amount of content before I don't know, before you hit a wall. If you just go at it and do your own thing, you're going to hit that wall a lot sooner than what you would if you followed the build, basically.
that is true what you're saying.
It's
It's kind of
actually super
hypocritical to say that like fun
If
is
you
more
look at
important than content.
if you look at heat maps for nodes that are used for certain like trees and certain builds and stuff like that, you notice people generally path through similar areas all around. Just the more you play, the more you notice this pathing, and the more you notice certain
Mm-hmm.
skills go with certain paths and pick up certain nodes, and you start to just be able to visualize an entire build immediately by knowing what skill someone's using. So, as a beginner, like I would recommend people to look up builds, not so they can follow it exactly, but so they can see that general skeleton tree. And then past that, you can use any items you want. You can use any like I don't know, unique jewels. You can use any of this stuff. But at the very least, you know what pathing is like pretty efficient.
All right.
I mean, if you really want to take a crack at doing it yourself, go for it, man. I'm not
I
saying.
mean, like I I'm not gonna like say I was the best, but like Diablo 2, like the forum's still up. I actually did make my own build for Boazon, the Amazon class with fuck I forgot what the skill was named, but it was very similar to Tornado Shot.
Must have not been that important if you forgot what the name was.
Alright.
I was just kidding, man.
Nah.
Amazon. It's
Double
the
two
only
Amazon
Amazon thing.
skills. It was similar because like it basically the same in here. Like it only had like a certain degree like where it shot, but like once you put a gem into it, the arrows went like 360 all around the character. It was
It's very similar to Tornado Shot.
multiple
Critical
shot.
damage.
I think it was multiple shot. Yeah, it's right here. It was either multiple shot or strafe.
Ooh. Kind of tired.
Oh yeah, it was strafe. There you go.
You looked it up, didn't you? You had to look it up.
I did look it up.
Dang.
Of course I looked it up. I'm not gonna remember that shit. Like,
Well, if you made your own build, I mean, I think it'd be a little bit more important.
hey,
Is for horses.
I mean this game is pretty similar to Diablo 2. Like some abilities are like almost the same. Almost the same. You remember the ability for like barbarians, like how they spawn around?
Cyclone?
Yeah. Like
I
that
mean,
was in this game.
that's in basically every online MMO / whatever game,
Alright,
honestly.
what about Frostbolt? Can't tell me that's in every MMO.
I can't.
Diablo 2's was better though. Fucking shot icicle spikes. Is it like you remember that? Oh shit, what's it called?
Still, I mean, it's been a little under 10 years since I played that game last. These skills are you naming specific skills, and they're pretty. I'm pretty sure they're pretty BA, but I don't remember.
Just making me want to play Path of Diablo. That's
Yo.
all this is doing.
Let's play. Let's go, man. Let's play.
But I'm done hardcore grinding this game. I'm doing it.
I actually already have it installed and everything.
Damn.
Let's go. Let's play. Oh yeah. Oh my god. I wish you could see this. Like the difference from before. Like I was like having a hard time, and now I'm just like
You're welcome.
through this.
You're welcome.
I will pay you back no matter what.
No, you don't. Don't worry about it. This game is heavily gear dependent. Honestly, it's up until I would say maybe. Honestly, I would say up until you start mapping, it's.
But how am I so much like tankier? Like
Because you have elemental resistance to mitigate the damage. You have. You probably output more damage to kill faster.
oh shit, that is true. Before I only had like 13 to 20. Now I got 40, 73, and 65 resistance.
Those resistances are basically more important than armor is, honestly, with the amount of elemental damage mobs do to you in this game.
And I still got less than 100 armor, but I'm like a billion times tankier.
Like armor, if you do armor, you basically are going to be going to not really a specific build, but there are builds who generally take armor or have high armor. If you don't go that build, you don't really get it.
Like armor is only good if you have high health, because even if you mitigate damage, if you don't have the health to back it up, you're still going to be taking like relatively high damage. Like armor only works once you have high health, right?
It's actually reversed.
Yeah.
Reverse? What the?
You want the health first, and then you worry about the armor later, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like armor only works once you have high health. If you have low health, then the armor doesn't mean anything. No?
Armor is also kind of weird because you assume that, like, when you hit C, you see your estimated physical damage reduction. The weird thing about PoE is that estimated. It's not actually what it appears to be. So you could have 90% estimated physical damage reduction, but if you get hit by an enormously large hit, it actually reduces less. So when you have certain skills and stuff like Fortify and certain methods of reduction, I believe they can be more efficient than armor, because in a way they're easier to get, but also armor doesn't really do exactly what it says it does. Kind of weird.
Well, have fun.
Skills. I like it.
Welcome to PoE, where damage numbers don't make sense and neither do defenses.
Pretty much.
That's awesome. There's this one game I used to play online. Forgot what it was, but like it had a dodge stat, and it was basically a joke because it wouldn't work. Like you could have 90% dodge, and it wouldn't do anything. You could have 99% dodge in it, still wouldn't do anything.
That's kind of.
Society that values violence. The violent rise through the ranks, like oil. Return when you can pay the sea. See you soon.
So mean.
I wonder if there's a map hack for this game, like in Diablo 2.
There are.
Just curious.
They're not actually allowed through TOS.
Nah, I know. It's just because like the map is like similar, so I was just like thinking about it. Are some of the maps not randomized, or are all of them randomized?
I think they're all randomized to an extent.
Alright.
It's like pseudo-random, because you can always sort of tell where zones are going based off of like past experience and stuff. There's like general layouts to all of them.
Yes. Why I was kind of asking, like sometimes you can notice like where to go.
Yeah, they're not completely random.
Tremble in the might of the flames.
She's gonna eat and then she's gonna run.
Any of you play Warframe before? Just curious.
Yeah.
You still play it?
Haven't played in a while. I played when. The heck is the frame's name?
What does he do?
Got like hooks and stuff that he shoots all over the place.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about, the one with the bow.
Yeah, he's
Actually,
new, but I don't know what his name is.
I did forget that one. I forgot her name. Dang, wait.
It was the one
I know
where
the
they
one you're talking
introduced
about.
the quest with like the dark shadow guy.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm being very specific right now, but you know what I mean. I think I'm like mastery 9.
I still play that game.
I have not played it in a while, but played it a fair bit. Yeah, a couple of
Ah,
Pretty fun.
Yeah. I think I was playing it before 3.0 came out. And then, you know, PoE just took over from there.
Yeah, I stopped once I got like everything that I could have at that point, and then I started playing like a month ago, and so much shit got released that I just said fuck it. Like they changed the game too much. Because
Yeah.
before, to get new frames, you would go on void missions, right?
Yep.
So I got like so many key savers, like different void keys, and now you don't need that anymore. I mean, they made it easier for new players. They got these things called
It's the
like
relics now, right? Void
the
relics?
relics, yeah, the eggs thing, and that's how you get them now. But they took away all my keys and changed them for eggs.
I was just pissed because the one Warframe that I invested all my time into was Frost Prime. And then they released Frost Prime on Twitch Prime. So,
What's wrong with that? Oh, yeah.
I
You know
had
what?
an
That is my
exclusive
favorite
frame.
Warframe.
Yeah, it was exclusive because he was in the Prime Vault. He costed like 700 platinum to buy, which was a serious amount of cash. And then they just released him for free.
The good thing about that game though is like the Prime Vault. Uh, like it is exclusive, but uh, it's still on rotation. Like right now, they got I think Loki and X Prime, and then like two more. But they're gonna be coming out in December and January and October, like out of the vault, and then they'll go back in, and then other frames will go into the vault as well. The only
I'm a
the only
fan of
thing
that system.
that's
It's cool.
yeah, the only thing that's really exclusive that I never got the chance to get was Excalibur Prime.
Yeah.
Now that is fucking exclusive.
Didn't play that much, but when I got back into it, I wanted the mod that let you get 90% base crit when you dashed. And I wanted that so bad, but it's like 1400 plat. So,
That that mod is useless. Do you want that one?
so good. You use the Atarax and you just get red crits on every single spin. It's so good.
Well, if you ever go back into play, like let me know.
Yeah.
I'll play it.
mean, after I'm done this, I'll probably play. Guess I'll go play Path of Diablo. Then I'll probably play some Warframe. I don't even know. There's also Fortnite, which is really good.
After this, I'm gonna sleep. I gotta wake up at 4 a.m. tomorrow for work.
Oh man, I don't mean today. I mean like in the future.
Oh, okay, yeah. Nah, I'm down for playing Path of Diablo 2, like I said earlier.
Yeah. Never actually played it, so I'll have to look into how I even get it.
You never played Diablo 2? Like,
Oh, Path of Diablo.
oh, Path of Diablo.
Played
I was
Diablo
gonna.
2.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
I don't know how to like install the mod.
I was gonna quit the guild right now, since you said.
Yeah.
Nah, nah. I don't think I've ever actually found like a more better community like this in Warframe. Like honestly, the community on here in Warframe are the reason I like the game so much.
Because this one's such shit? That's what you mean?
I mean, most of the people here are mature. Like, I try playing other games, like it's 90% are kids, just like running around. Or I mean, I haven't had any bad experiences here so far.
Yet. Because it'll happen, man. It will happen.
See, now you jinxed it. Now it's gonna happen.
It was already going to happen before I said anything.
See?
Don't take what I said as the deciding nail in your coffin.
Maybe he was the wonder child. Maybe he was coming in to play PoE. Absolutely no problems ever. He was the
Dang.
first.
Exactly. You see, now you just ruined it for him.
Yep, now he's jinxed. He's
Yeah.
ruined. He has no hope.
Well, you're welcome.
You just ruined my PoE experience forever.
He's freed you from the game quicker. Because you're gonna have your terrible experience and you're gonna dip.
You're going to be playing hardcore. You're going to get up to like level 76 and you're going to die
Ha.
because it
Yeah,
lags.
see, the thing is, I've already done my fair share of that in Diablo 2, so I know not to even like attempt it.
Well, there's things called races that come out closer to the end of the league. You're going to do a race and you're going to do a hardcore race because that's where you get the better loot. Kinda. Not really. You're going to get up to maybe 80. Maybe 80. Maybe 60, 70, 80. And then you're going to get into a map and guess what? GGG hasn't updated how they load in the monster, so when you fight your first group of monsters, you lag. You try and exit out, you come back, and you're in standard. Oh, sweet.
Wait, do we actually do have races? Because those are actually pretty fun for me.
They have race seasons. It's one of the ways to get like item level 100 gear.
And like after you finish it, you can put the gear back into like standard league.
Yeah, everything gets basically, depending on what, I guess, what difficulty player or what setting, hardcore or standard. If you play standard race, basically, or standard core, stuff in standard core once the race ends will get transferred into permanent standard league. And then same thing for hardcore league or hardcore mode. If you play on hardcore, you don't die. It gets transferred into permanent hardcore mode. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess we're talking about different types of races here.
Oh,
Because there are race seasons, which are like short little first one to beat Dominus, stuff like that. And a lot of the times, those characters, I think, they void out. Oh
see?
no, they void out if they're special races.
Yeah.
The Endless Ledge. Oh, yeah, I got that backwards. I thought they all voided out. They definitely don't.
The races I played in Diablo 2 was just like
May your match be
well,
merciful.
hardcore. It was try to get to like this point in the game. If you died, obviously like your character is deleted, and that's it.
Yeah. You can get like race points based off of how far you get, what level you are, um, checkpoints that you've reached, I guess, like rankings. And I think it goes up to 1,000 points in race seasons, and they'll give you alternative 3D art for items. Some of the most expensive items in the game are alternate 3D art from the earliest race seasons, like when the game was released.
What's the, just out of curiosity, like the most expensive item in the game? Like how much is it worth?
I mean,
It's 30,000 exalts. I think it's its series mirror, which was given
30,000?
to, yeah, it was given to the people who played in the first race season and achieved over 1,000 points. I think there were only 9 people who did that.
30,000 though. That's,
Yeah, it's actually just insane.
I doubt even anyone has that much.
no, there's people with.
Yeah, there's people.
Oh, okay. I'm wrong. Like, oh, this is fucking awesome. The path to building. I just put my like login name or whatever, and it pulled up everything for me.
Charlie.
Done. How do I go to?
Actually, I think one of the most expensive